What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. So let's go ahead and get right into today's video. I am actually going to be completing a new set on my client today. It's her birthday and she wants something simple, not nothing too complex. She actually brought in a picture for me to duplicate. She wants her nails exactly like the picture. She kind of went back and forth with changing it up a little bit, but I think for the most part, she wants it just like the picture. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking my Melody Susie E-File and a medium grit sanding band, and I am buffing the shine from her natural nail beds. Also cleaning up around her cuticle area with that same sanding band. Sometimes I push the cuticles back before I start, depending on how bad the overgrowth of cuticle is on my client's nails. But if I see where I can just push it back with the sanding band and the e-file, then that is exactly what I do. So in this case, that's that. So how are you guys doing? I'm glad to be back. I've actually been trying to post this video for a minute now, but other things were happening, life and things just going on. But I am happy today to be able to get this video out to you guys. Okay, so that's that. It's done, and I didn't show you the second hand. There was no need. You guys are automatically know how that goes. So let's go ahead and get her tips applied. So I'm going to be using two different tips. I'm going to be using a natural tip. Both of them are extra long coffin tips. They have a slight C curve, but not much. But I'm going to be using the natural and the clear. On the pointers, I'm going to be using clear. And the reason for that is there's a design on the pointer. So the design today that we're doing is the marble. So we're going to be marbleizing it. The other nails are pretty much a full cover nail. So I'm going in with the natural nails on the other fingers. Now, as you can see, I am actually alternating from hand to hand. And the reason that I'm alternating from hand to hand is just to go ahead and grab that other nail, that's the same size, versus me having to complete one hand and then go back and try to remember which size I used on that finger, which most of the time, we all know the sizes are basically going to be the same for the majority of people. But unless you have like really small hands, then really small fingers, then it'll be a little bit different or a little smaller. But for the most part, we use basically the same few numbers, a few sizes. For some reason today, my glue is just really like gushing out. And I don't know why. It could be me. So you can see me, I'm just dapping that overflow off because we don't want a lot of glue piled up on top of the nails or running, flooding the nail, the grooves on the side or anything. Okay. And also, you guys, it's I don't know if it's the temperature, because I know, we know that temperature does affect our chemicals and our products. But for some reason, it's like I'm having to hold these nails for a period of time. I don't know if it's I got a bad batch of glue, a bad bottle of glue or not. I may have to just throw this bottle away and move on to the next bottle, because everybody know time is money, and it's like slowing me down to have to hold it for so long. Okay. Yeah, and even if you do use a bit too much glue, it's okay because, like I said, you can, as you see me doing, I'm just dapping it off with the paper towel, or and then at the end, if it's you, we're gonna go back and flush it anyway, so it'll be removed anyway. So it's not a big problem, but we don't still don't want glue everywhere. Okay, I'm just making sure. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is take my tip trimmer, and I'm trimming her nail tips to her desired size. I mean length. And I pretty much, can once I cut the first one, I can pretty much eye it to get the other ones cut the same length. Sometimes I have to go back and like trim to even up, but typically not too much. I typically can get it right like the first time. But if not, it's okay. The more we do things, the better we get at it, and the more accurate we are at things that we do, like on a competitive basis. So, like, even if you're just starting now, it's okay because everything gets better with time. Everything. Nobody's a there. I'm not gonna say nobody's a genius, but most of us are not geniuses. There are some among us that are, but most of us are not geniuses. We have to work to perfect our craft, to perfect our skills. Okay, so now I'm taking this 8080 grit emery board, and I am filing her nails in a vertical um, form. And the reason I'm doing that is to ensure that the tips are nice and crisp and straight. I want to make sure that before I even start to lay the acrylic, that the shape is pretty much there. You want to always have a good foundation, and so that's what I'm doing now, just making sure my foundation is good. And so now I'm just taking my e-filing that medium grit sanding band again, and I'm going in where the tip meets the natural nail, and I am flushing. It's called flushing, where you basically sand down the nail tip to where it's even with your natural nail. This gives the any acrylic that's applied there that's clear, it doesn't look disconnected. It gives it a smooth look as if it's your nail growing out. So, you know, this is a step that I typically don't skip. Even if I'm doing like a full coverage acrylic, I do not skip this step for some reason. I think it's just, the look and the order of it, I guess. I'm not sure, but it's just something that I prefer not to skip. But some people don't even flush their tips in with their natural nails, and it's okay because we all do things a different way, and that's the beauty in being an artist. Like, you don't have to typically do something exactly like somebody else. We find our own ways, things that work for us, that we do, that's not written in stone. It's not law, but it works for us. And it may work for you. That's why we share what we do. Okay, so I'm just getting everything set up for her acrylic application. And now I'm going in with this no lift primer. And I'm only going to prime her one hand. I don't prime both hands at the same time because depending on what design, it may take a little longer. So you see me priming her hand, this hand twice. I do prime twice just for the first added security. That's really not the first. It's like the second step in adding security so that the nail doesn't lift. The first step of the security of the nail not lifting is you buffing the shine from the natural nail and cleaning up that cuticle area. That's the first step. The second step for the non-lifting is your primer, and not only your primer, but how long your primer sits on the nail before you apply your acrylic. And then right before I applied this white, I know you guys saw that I did a thin layer of the clear. I always do a thin layer of the clear, especially where that, excuse me, especially where the nail tip and the natural nail meet. You want to make sure that that is blended well together, and also up by the cuticle area. I want to make sure that I cover that with the clear. And the reason I do that, like I say, is just an added security for lifting. I found that when I don't do it, and I'm using like my colored acrylic, sometimes you may have an issue like when you go back for your fill-in, you see some lifting, a sufficient amount of lifting around the top. But when you do, well, whenever I do the clear layer and then I go in with my colors or my designs, I find that it lessens the lifting around the top when your clients come back for their fill-in. And you always want to make sure you look at the nail from different angles before moving on to the next nail. You want to make sure you don't have to backtrack and waste time. Just make sure the nail is pretty much shaped to the desired shape before you move on. Some things, it doesn't have to be like extremely perfect because things balance out when you come back and you encapsulate. Sometimes you don't have to encapsulate depending on what you're doing. Like if you're just using like colored acrylic, whites or pinks or something like that on just a solid nail. However, I do encapsulate most of the time, like 95% of the time I'm encapsulating, even especially my whites, because you want to have a layer of protection for a stain resistant, white stains pretty much. But you know what, you guys, there was something that I've been wanting to try, and matter of fact, I think I'm going to order that today. It's the Young Nails stain resistant top coat. I've heard a lot of good reviews about that. And it prevents like your whites from yellowing. And so I think I'm gonna try that on my clients and see. I don't even think I'm gonna tell them. I think I'm gonna use the resistant top coat on white and see the next time they come back how white, it stayed, if it stayed crystal clear or not. Pretty and white, not crystal clear, but you know what I'm saying. And so I'm just gonna take that cuticle, that bead, and place it close to the cuticle. I didn't place it up by the cuticle. I actually placed it a little bit below the cuticle and then pushed it up. You'll see me a lot of times cleaning constantly around the cuticle area. I don't want any of the product on the skin for allergic reaction purposes. As you can see, I'm always holding my client's fingertip in a downward direction, just so that the acrylic doesn't flow backwards and flood the cuticle area. Also, most of your acrylics are self-leveling. So once you apply the bead and it begins to run and set, it levels itself out. Sometimes you have to do like a minimum amount of placing and touching and forming. Sometimes it just like basically forms itself, especially when you're holding it in a downward direction. So that I'm going back in with the clear. You want to always wipe your brush constantly. You'll constantly see me wiping my brush. You want to always keep your brush clear of any buildup of acrylic. You don't want that acrylic to build up in your brush. It's very hard to get out if it starts to build up in your brush. And typically you have to actually like discard that brush and purchase another one. We both know that, I mean, we all know that brushes are expensive. So, we don't want to keep wasting our brushes or damaging our brushes to where we have to keep putting more money out into our tools, because this is a business and you want to capitalize on, your money. You want to make sure that you're making your money work for you. So if you're making the money, then you having to spend it out on wasted product and material, then, that's not a good thing. And as you can see, I just hold my bead for a second and I let it set. Once it begins to mat over, that's when I place the bead onto the nail bed. Once it begins to mat over, you know that it's then stiff enough to where it doesn't run everywhere. You know it's the right consistency. Okay. So this was actually an ombre nail. And what I did was I'm using, okay, let's go back. The white and the clear that you see off to my right, those are chisel. I have the chisel white and the chisel clear. And that's what that's what I use for the pink and the white. So the pink on the ring finger is actually a pink that I mixed up. It's a Pretty Nail Notes pink. And the middle finger, I actually use the Young Nails orange jelly. It's a peach color, but the name of it is orange. And it's one of their 4 in the jelly collection that they put out a little while back. I did order that collection, so that is what I'm using to ombre that middle finger. Along with that orange jelly from Young Nails, I'm also using NSI peach blush at the top. And it's more a natural, natural looking peach, fleshy toned. So I ombre that peach down on top of that orange jelly. So now on this pointer, what I'm using is I'm using the white, the clear, and also a touch of the pink. And I'm just creating a marble design. Each marble design that you create is going to be different. It's going to be unique in itself because once you want to use a really wet bead, and once you place your acrylic and begin to work it, it does its own thing pretty much. And it's like you never can create that same look. It's going to be different every time. And that's the beauty in marbleizing. It's just like the marble stones. It's like one of God creations. Like they're always different. You'll never find 2 of the same type of stones. And so that's the same thing that you get, in nails when you're marbling. Okay. This thumb is going to be a duplicate of the middle finger. I'm going in with the clear. I placed it close to the cuticle, but not at the cuticle. Then I pushed it up and brought it down. So now I'm going in with that Young Nails orange jelly. I wanted that orange jelly to have like some dimension to it and like some light and darkness. So I didn't like place a bead and like evenly bring the bead down. I'm actually like placing it where I want it to be lighter or darker and then just kind of patting it out because that's the look that I was going for. Okay. And then, like I say, you want to make sure there's nothing in your brush. Okay. And you guys, it may look like my, okay, so wait a minute. I'm letting it mat over. And then I'm placing that bead and we're going to work it down. A little bit at a time. You just work it down. Okay, so it may look like my paper towel is soaked with monomer. It's really not. The deal with the paper towel is it's a cheap paper towel. I ran out of my normal paper towel and I had this, I think it's Viva. I had a pack of Viva in the pantry. And so I actually am not using the right absorbent paper towel. So even like the first time you touch this paper towel, it's like soaked. So don't be alarmed by the soakedness of my paper towel. Because whenever you're using a paper towel that has like good absorbency and you're seeing your paper towels get soaked through, that's what you don't want, because it's like you're wasting your monomer. You're using too much of monomer and you're wasting it. And we know that that's expensive. So we want to try to keep a cap on, how much product we're using or wasting. So I'm on the second hand now. As you can see, I'm going in with that no lift primer. I did prime her hand twice. And we're going to go ahead and put this to the side. And we're going to go in with the white on this pinky. She wants both hands to be exactly the same. And so there's my clear coat. Change paper towels. Okay. Okay, so there's my clear coat. And so now I'm going to go in with the white. Sometimes you may have to drain the back of your brush if you see where, you're doing a smaller area, or you see where the bead is actually too wet and it's really not matting over. Then as you just saw me do, I just took my brush on the back side and just dapped it on the paper towel, because immediately when you touch the paper towel, it's going to soak up that monomer from your brush. I don't typically do that a lot, but every now and then, if I feel like I got too much, I didn't, wipe my brush off enough, then I may have to dap the back of my brush. And right now, I'm just building up the apex. And allowing this acrylic to self-level itself. Okay. So it's no possible way, you guys, for you to like complete a full set without even touching the client's skin at all. So it's not an expectancy where you're not expected to ever touch the skin, but keep it at a minimum, because you will touch the skin like several times throughout a set, but you just want to minimize how many times you touch the skin or how much you touch the skin, and with what you touch the skin. Okay, sometimes I do take my brush and I brush upward. If I've pulled too much of acrylic in a downward fashion and I see where my tips are a little bit bulkier than that midsection, you'll see me turn my brush around and basically brush it back up in an upward direction. And once you brush it up, like I said, it does level out. Okay, so you see me applying that bead and then working it up towards the cuticle, cleaning around it. It did, as you guys can see right here on the left hand side, it did get on her skin a little bit, but I immediately removed that. I didn't continue to move forward. I immediately got that off of her skin. And right now I am just building. Building up that apex area. That your apex area is where breakages happen. And if your apex area is not thin, then you won't have any breakage. The apex area is where the free edge and the nail bed actually transitions right there. So that's your apex if you don't know where the apex is. So if you have a thicker build in the apex area, you won't have breakage. Not only will you not have breakage, but you won't have breakage that hurts your clients. Sometimes if it's really thin in the apex area and it breaks right there, and it causes the nail to either split your natural nail up, or it splits in like a diagonal, and it still damages your nail bed. So we don't want to we don't want that to happen. So that's why we build up the apex to keep that breakage from happening right there. And now I just went in with that Young Nails orange jelly again on the tip of this middle finger. And now I'm going in with the NSI Peach Blush. I'm letting it matte over a little bit. And then I'm placing it on that apex area and working it down. Do a little cleanup around the sides to just make sure it's not touching the skin. And now I'm going to go back in with another bead, let it matte over. And then I'm going to place it close to the cuticle, not on the cuticle, push it up. And then we're just going to pull everything down. I'm going to put it in tight around the cuticle area, blend it in, and clean it up. Simple. Okay, I'm going to just blend this upward. With ombres, you could kind of play with them, and anywhere you see where it's lighter or darker, you can just fill it in, and you either blend upward or downward. Okay, this is going to be a marble. I'm going to go in with a clear. One clear layer. A thin clear layer. And then now we're going to go in with the white and the clear. And we're just going to start our design off. You could basically do the marbling any type of way you want. But I know you see the little bee. You don't want that. You don't want like a bee. You just want it to be smooth and like creamy. A creamy look, but with dimension, like with different colors and with dimension. And so you could just basically play with it until it gets to your desired liking. And go in with a little pink. The acrylic right now has started to harden, and I was just making sure that it was pressed out how I wanted it with no lumps. And so now I just compared them, and I seen where I wanted to go back in on the side, do a little bit of tweaking. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm satisfied with it. Okay. And this last one, this thumb is going to be ombre, like the middle fingers and the other thumb. So we go in with that clear layer. Okay, we're going to go in with the Young Nails orange. I'm going to pattern it out. I like that orange jelly because it's glittery. So it's not just like a solid jelly. It actually has the glitter and the sparkle that I like. And as I said before, you're going to see me patting it and moving it around. Because with jellies, like if you, depending on how you place it, it can have dimension. It can be lighter or darker in different areas. And so I did want it to have a little dimension. And so you saw me patting it out. But now I'm going in right above, right at that apex area with that NSI Peach Blush. And I'm just ombreing that down. Let it matte over just a little bit. And then I'm going in close to the cuticle, but not at the cuticle, pushing it up and then pulling it down. You want to make sure it's tight around that cuticle area so that your client doesn't look like they have overgrown nails as soon as they leave you. Like I'm walking out. Like you don't want to look like your nails are overgrown and you just got them done. And I'm just cleaning up, pressing everything out. Okay, I got that. Okay. So guys, knock on wood, I haven't had a client yet that had an allergic reaction to anything. And I don't want that, you know. So I just try to do my best to protect them at all costs. And then upon finishing, I always spray them down with alcohol. It cleanses the skin off after the service. Very seldom they have to go wash their hands. But if so, you know, I let them wash their hands, and then we proceed with the finishing touches. But most of the time, I just spray them down with the alcohol. Okay, so that's that. Let's go ahead and get these things put away. And I'm going to go in now and encapsulate everything. As you can see, I switched brushes. This is a lighter brush, and I'm actually just wanting to apply the clear and basically leave it wet and allow that acrylic to just self-level. We're going to hold the nails down in a downward position, and just once I apply that really wet bead of clear, it will basically help you do its job. It's going to begin to move and flow in a downward air, you know, down the nail. And so it's really not too much that you have to do to it when you begin to encapsulate. Just make sure that when you look at the nail from the side, everything is basically even. If it's not even, it's something small that can be simply buffed out with your e-file. or with your emery board, because some you don't always have to use an e-file at the end. Sometimes you can do like a minimum of filing with the emery board. As you can see, when I go in with the bead, it's always at the apex. And then I just basically smooth everything out. You want your touches to be really light feather strokes. That's another reason why I switched the brush. This is not a weighted brush. It's a very light brush. And it gives you that perfect amount of weight when you're holding it, to where you can do like feather like touches or strokes, feather like strokes. Okay. As you can see, you guys, when I turned that nail to the side, right where I just put that bead, there was an indentation, like right above the apex area, that's actually was smoothing out, once I placed those two beads here. That's why I say you always want to look from different angles, because if you're just looking at it flat or from face on, when you turn your nail to the side, if you don't turn the nail to the side, then you're not seeing those indentions. Those indentions can cause breakage because the nail is weaker there. Wherever there's lack, there's weakness. And that's not only in nails, that's in life. Period. For the most part, I do feel like that the Young Nails Jelly and the NSI Peach Blush, I feel like it blended really well for, an ombre nail. They're on both, the same end of the spectrum. So it was very easily blended, and it looks nice. I hope the camera gives it justice for how it looks, because it's really beautiful. It's pretty. Okay, you're gonna put these things away. Look at my client looking at her nails. She already like them. We're not even done yet. Okay, so now I'm taking my Tammy Taylor peel and stick file, and I am basically making the sides crisp and straight, and also going over the edge, just like I did with the 80 grit emery board that I had earlier. I'm going to do the same thing, and this is just to ensure that it's straight and straight. And so what I love about this Tammy Taylor peel and stick file is that it's made from a plastic board. Basically, this, not a board. Well, I guess it would be a board. It's made from this plastic piece here. And you peel off the emery board portions and you re-stick them as needed. It's good to do that, and it's most sanitary to do that between every client. Peel it off, throw it away. Don't use the same file on several clients. Peel it off, throw it away, and apply a fresh new one. So this board does ensure that your lines are straight because it's made from plastic, as I stated, and it does not bend. So when you're trying to get that look that you're going for, this Tammy Taylor peel and stick file, it actually it enables you to get that straightness and that sleekness that you're looking for when you are shaping your nails. Like so. Okay, just making that tip crisp. You want to look at them. And so now that's completed, we're going to go in now with our E-file and our medium grit sanding band, and just go around the cuticle area, making sure that there's nothing touching the skin, and also blending it out with the natural nail so that it's flush, so that upon your nails growing out, you won't have like that big hump or that big disconnection between where your real nail is and where the acrylic is applied. You want to have that as smooth as possible. And also that is like another like little tip for lifting as well, because if it's rough right there and it's growing out and your client can't get in, it's constantly being snagged on stuff, and stuff is catching it at that top, because it's amazing how you never notice something until something is wrong. And then, like, just say for instance you have a hangnail, everything you touch is going to grab that nail. It's the same way at the top. If your nails are growing out and it's like a little hump or a ragged disconnect, it's going to grab everything you put your hands in. Is gonna pull and snatch on that. So that's what I'm doing now, making sure that all of that is straightened out. And then also going down the nail, the entirety of the nail, just to make sure we have a smooth, beautiful finish. You do want to be careful, however, not to remove that apex that you build up. Sound like I said build, but I said built. If I didn't, I'm saying it now. Because you guys, some people go in on you. But yeah, the apex portion. Don't remove the apex that you built up. Okay. I'm yarning so much, you guys. Forgive me. I'm sorry. A little tired, but I'm still moving. I'm like trying to conceal my yarns, trying to make sure y'all don't hear them. And we are almost done. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on this hand. So you guys, I got a question for you. And the question is, and I want you to leave your answers in the comments and let me see what you think. But the question is, if you have your nail tech, your normal nail tech that you go to on a regular basis, that's your nail tech, and you've been a faithful client to your nail tech. I do believe in giving back. So I'm wondering, like, what is it that you guys think that would be something good or something that you would really appreciate coming from your nail tech if they wanted to give something back to you guys? Not, I know a lot of nail techs, when they do giveaways and stuff like that, they give away nail products, so on and so forth. But everybody cannot take advantage of the use of the nail products, because everybody can't do nails. And most of 9 times out of 10, if they're coming to you to get their nails done, they can't do them themselves. So my question is, what as a client would be a beneficial gift from your nail tech to you if your nail tech wanted to give you something back? So let me know in the comments. And I don't know. I want to see where you guys' heads are at. I've come up with like a few things that I've thought about. But I just want to know what you guys think. So just let me know in the comments. So this is like really, really satisfying for me to see how the smoothness like really take effect. It's really satisfying because it's like going from something rough, like that rough draft you put together, and then you being able to see your baby come together, or your work come together. And just to see this portion where everything starts to be blended well and smoothing out, like, it's so satisfying to me. What's really satisfying to me is the top coat. When you get to that top coat and you start to apply like any stones or anything like that you're doing, or any art, whether it's like stickers or foils or whatever, glitters, whatever, or designs, like hand painted designs, whatever you're going to do. Once you get to that part, like, that's really, really rewarding. But you guys, doing nails itself is so relaxing for me. It's so relaxing. I think that's why I'm yawning. Okay, so now we're going to take this cone. As you can see, I still have my E-file, but I did change my drill bit. So what I'm using now is a fine grit cone shape drill bit. And so what I'm doing is I'm going underneath the nails and I'm cleaning up any acrylic that, could have spilled over underneath the nails, and just making sure that everything is crisp and clean, and there's nothing unnecessary under the nails, or anything that's bundled up or bulked up underneath the nails. The worst thing for me is leaving the nail salon and you have those little beads of acrylic underneath your nail, and you're trying to, it's like it constantly bothers you, and you're picking at it. But then when it chips off, it chips in a way where it takes some acrylic that needed to be in there, like at a corner or something. That is so freaking irritating to me. So it's like, I take everything that I learned in my discussions, like things that I was disgusted with, and I try to make sure that I apply that to how I service my clients, so that they can be pleased with the service that I give, because I know how those type of things irritated me. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to apply her stones, her crystals. Okay, and I'll be using out of two different cases here. I have several cases, but like, I have tons of crystals, but it just depends on, what your client wants at the time. And I don't know if I'm going to do her crystal placements the same as the pictures. Do you want your crystals placements the same? Okay, she's saying yeah, she want her crystal placements the same as the picture. So I'm going to use this crystal glue. I'm also using not polish. Okay, so I'm using that not polish glossy top coat. So let's see here. I'm just looking at her nails right now, trying to make sure that I don't see any lint or anything that could not give her a beautiful glossy finish. And if there's lint on the nails, that leaves the nails bumpy under that top coat, you're going to be able to see it. So you want to just make sure that nothing's bumpy or linty. Lint. Well, that has lint on it. I don't know if linty is a word. Linty. It may be a word, but anyway, you don't want lint on the nails. So I'm just taking that glossy, and I'm just applying a thin top coat layer on there. And I'm going to do it on each one of her nails on this hand. Well, the forefirst. I usually come back with the thumb later. I usually do the thumbs separate just because they lay kind of to the side. You don't want anything running to the side. Excuse me, you guys. You don't want anything running to the side. So I usually do the 4 and then the other 4, and then come back and do the 2 thumbs at the same time. so that they go in the lamp at the same time. So immediately when you apply your top coat, you can actually see your design coming together. It's like voila. Okay, I just clipped this little skin from hanging around her cuticle from where her nails were filed around the cuticle area. And so now I'm just making sure that there's not too much glossing on the tips. And so that's what I was doing, just evening that out. Okay, so now what I did was dip this brush in some alcohol to just soften it up from the last use. And then I went in with my crystal glue. And so I'm placing that crystal glue where I want it, which was mostly like on a diagonal from that right side. It's going to be placed in a diagonal coming, down on that right side. But then you also seen me level it out by brushing it down the nail. And when you brush in mix your cuticle, I don't know why I keep saying cuticle. When you mix your crystal glue in with your top coat, it does just that. Like, it mixes in well, and it doesn't cause like a disconnect or a different type of textures. It blends in together. Okay. I did see some of my clear coat running. So that's what you just saw me clean with that cleaning brush. Okay, so I'm going to take some more crystal glue, and I'm going to place it only where I am applying the stones. And so I think I'm going to do 3 in this area. Okay, so for this ring finger, these are sliding just a little bit. Sometimes you can put like a little bit too much of a product, and it'll cause your nails to slide. So you just basically want to keep them in place until you can get them in the light. Because immediately upon putting them in the light, they freeze in place. So this crystal placement, all of them basically is exactly like the picture that she showed me. I actually have it off here to the side for me to reference every now and then. But for the most part, I kind of got it captured in my mind of what I need to do. Okay, and so now you just saw me flip my wax pen over to the picker side. And I'm just cleaning up a little bit, making sure that there's not too much of top coat or crystal glue on the nails that causes the nails to have like a different shape. So you want to just basically even everything out. Make sure all your stone placements are good before you put them in the light, because like I said, they freeze into place immediately upon placing them in the light. They cure really fastly. Okay, so I'm just looking at it for the overall view. I brought her back to go ahead and make those sides even more straighter by removing some of the bulk of the top coat. So we're going to do the same thing on this alternate hand. And that's going in with this not polished glossit. Just going to do a really thin coat of that. Okay. On top of this pink, we're just going to do another really thin coat. What do you guys think about me starting to do story times? Because you guys, on a daily basis, things be popping off. And some things are like so unbelievable. So unbelievable. And it's like it's like sometimes I be like, I can't believe this just happened. Like, what the funk? Like, what in the world? But I'm thinking about incorporating some story times. I told this one viewer that I was gonna be doing that, and they were like really excited about it. And I had even thought about doing this video, and adding a story time to it. But then I was kind of skeptical about talking about the topic of the story time. So I don't know. I was like, I don't know. Let me think about it. Let me keep thinking about this. Because when you start to tell like realistic stories about things that has happened to you, it's like people get like a different insight into your life. And so it's like, do I want to do that? I don't know. But yeah, my client, look, y'all, she done stacks her hands on top of each other. She wanna make sure that I'm getting these that I'm placing these stones exactly like the other hand. That's too funny. She's a character. But anyway, we're just basically doing the same thing we did on the other hand. I got a real interesting story time, you guys, about this guy I was dating. Mm, mm, mm. It's hard today, especially here in Atlanta. Like, I feel like as a single straight woman, it's extremely hard to date here in Atlanta. It's like it's extremely hard. It's hard and then it's scary at the same time. Okay. I'm just cleaning up a little bit, making sure there's not too much product on there. Going in with my crystal glue. And you guys, I've been had this crystal glue for so long. I know well over a year. Whether or not it's been 2 years, I'm not sure, but I know that it's been well over a year. And it's like half of the little jar has been used. And I use it like base almost on every set. I use this crystal glue. And I don't know. It wasn't really expensive either, but it does the job. Like, you don't lose your stones. And I ordered it from Amazon. It was one of my Amazon products. That was in a haul I did back, like way back when I first started the channel. I'm saying way back, y'all, like it's been years. It hasn't been years, like years and years, but it's been a while. I think I started my channel, my nail channel, because I had a different channel. Which was just like a common channel. It was like just different things that I wanted like to talk about and stuff. But then I decided to delete that channel and then create a nail channel for my business. And so I started this channel. I don't even think it has been a year. But I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I decided to do something different and create the channel, because some may feel like it hasn't been as successful as it should be, but I am actually very pleased with the success of the channel. It's been successful to me. Within the period of time that I've been, posting videos on YouTube from Pretty Nail Notes, I feel like it has been successful in that aspect. So right now, I am going to spray her down. You see me spraying her down with alcohol, and this is just to remove the any chemical that may be around her cuticle area, and also to soften her hands up for oil and the massage as well. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm applying the oil. The cuticle oil is oil that I formulated myself. My son and I made these cuticle oils. I solely picked the fragrances. I picked the types of oil that I wanted to go into the cuticle oils. And I also wanted my client to have like a different experience when they come to get their nails done. Most nail salons, when you go to them, they don't give you that massage. They spray you till you go wash your hands, and then you're good to go. They don't make sure you're oiled and everything and moisturized before you leave. And that's something that I really wanted to do. So you can see that I'm going in. I'm making sure my client's skin, nails, knuckles, all of that is moisturized so that her hands are beautiful. When she look at them, she don't see ash and crust and little nail products left here. She's looking at a beautiful set of nails, and that's what I want optimized. So I'm just taking this swipe and a lint-free wipe, and what I'm doing is removing the shine and that oil from her crystals and from her top coat to just activate that shine, because once you put the oil on, the shine goes away. But voila, this is the finishing touch. I want to appreciate you guys for tuning in. Everything looks good. I'm just taking a look at everything myself, but I think the set turned out very beautiful. My client was very pleased. Like I said, it was her birthday set. Thank you. Thank you guys. Don't forget to answer the questions in the comments that I asked you guys. If there's anything you want to see from me or anything you want to know, feel free to reach out and ask. I do respond to my followers. I try my best to keep up and let you guys know that you are as equally important as to me as I am to you. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.